Hey, I'm Aaron Hensley with Rise USA. I had 24 martial arts schools over 6 different states, 54 full-time employees, $7 million in gross annual revenue. And now I'm going to help you take your business to the next level. I want your martial arts school to not only fulfill the mission of making money so you have a great business. Do you run a karate school? Do you want to own a business and not a job? I'm Aaron Hensley with Rise USA. I owned over 20 martial arts schools, 6 different states, 3 different time zones, 50 plus full-time staff members. I'm gonna help you learn how to scale and own a business while you still impact your community and you can love what you do. Download this free guide right now. I'm gonna help you rise. All right. It is the year of the dragon come upon us. We got a new year. It's about to be a new Chinese year. And who is the greatest dragon of all time? Look, on a side note, my nickname from my staff was Red Dragon because, you know, being a redhead, I used to have more hair before kids and all that kind of stuff. You know, you get angry or whatever, or frustrated. You know, redheads can't hide their skin tone. So, but the greatest dragon of all time, Bruce Lee, of course. So I'll have 8 quotes from Bruce Lee. I believe Bruce Lee was one of the great philosophers, and just, you know, he's a martial artist. He doesn't get the publicity enough for some of the great things that he wrote or said, and really some deep meaning behind it. So I've got 8 of them that we're going to go through right now, and I'm just going to kind of bring them up and kind of bring meaning behind them, right? So of course, I got to start with the first one. Be water, my friend, all right? So like, speaking of which, I'm drinking some water right here. The thing about it is like, what does that mean to people when they hear that? And like, we live in a world right now where people don't understand how to handle conflict. And like their first reaction, unfortunately, because of social media and everyone's got a camera, there's so many things you can scroll and see negative things in the world where people, you know, one little thing sets them off and then they're wanting to harm someone, right? They're set off, they're triggered, right? And the thing is, it's like, if we have the ability to have the skill to communicate better, to overcome conflict, and let things roll off of you. Because most of the time, here's the thing is, I know someone could post something, a comment on your social media, and it literally like can break your soul. It could hurt. Imagine being a 12-year-old and seeing that. Of course, it could. They're not even developed enough to even understand that. And I've got an 11-year-old little girl, like she likes doing a little TikTok video type things or whatever like that. And so it's popular. They're going to be around it. Even if you don't let it happen at the house, they're going to be at school and someone's going to have it at school. They're going to see it. And so like, imagine being a kid, because you know it hurts you when you're an adult when someone says something bad about you. And now we live in a world that's compounded greatly. So be water, my friend. Like, what if you have the ability to be resilient enough and skilled enough where things, by the way, roll off of you because you know where you're going in life. You're secure in what your mission is. And it doesn't hurt the fact that you can defend yourself because, you know, if it does come to some kind of conflict where you have to physically defend yourself, you got the skill set for that too, okay? And next one, using no way as way, having no limitation as limitation. I'm reading that one, I'm like, I'm triggered right now, like in a positive way. Using no way as way, having no limitation as limitation, okay? And the thing about, like, you know, with his martial arts style, I think people sometimes misunderstand kind of some of his meanings with his things, but like, what if you weren't as rigid? Like, you know, I've learned different traditional martial arts styles over the years, and, you know, you just trust your teacher, like, well, that's how they said to do it, that's why I'm doing it. We do the same thing in religion. We do the same thing with our parents. We don't question these people because we trust them, and they're our mentors, our guides. What if you could still learn and trust those people, and also we could be a little bit less rigid with our understanding, kind of like be like water maybe even, right? And so like one thing about Chinese martial arts in general is like it's very fluid, whereas like, you know, Japanese martial arts is very like more structured and harder. That's why we have hard styles and soft styles. And so like what if you applied that same message not just to your martial arts? What if about in everything in your life, if you understood that sometimes in your business maybe there's other ways to get to the same end target. I tell people, be stubborn, right, on the goal. Be stubborn on the mission. Flexible on how you get there. The world will challenge you for sure. As soon as you claim some big, scary goal you're going after, the world's gonna be like, oh, really, right? God's gonna be like, let me test you now. So like, understand, you know, if you can sometimes have no way as the way, you learn more about who you are. One of my mentors, Jesse Itzler, who owns the Atlanta Hawks, he talks about that everything he's done in his life, he's created or he's helped exit multiple companies for billions of dollars. Every time he stepped in one of these roles, he knew nothing about the space. And so like there was no way because he'd never done it before. And so he had to figure it out. And that like, made him stay hungry. I intentionally relocate, even if I'm in the same town, because I don't want to get lazy eyes where I just assume everything's going to happen a certain way and I just don't see anything anymore. I think too many times we just get way too comfortable, okay? Next one, absorb what is useful, discard what is not. Add what is uniquely your own, all right? And so like, I believe the meaning here is just talking about, having critical thinking. Having critical thinking. I don't think something could be beautiful unless it has uniqueness to it. If everything looks the same all the time, nothing stands out. So like if you go to a neighborhood and every house looks exactly the same, nothing stands out. So like what cars we consider beautiful are the ones that are like, the unique cars that you don't see very often. Well, same thing when it comes to like, thinking, your processing, how you live your life. And it's not about standing out just to stand out, right? You're not dyeing your hair just to get attention, just for the sake of attention. Like what if you could, take knowledge from your mentors, take knowledge from your teachers that is useful for you, that applies to who you are at your core, and then discard the other stuff without necessarily having to, get rid of everything about that, what you've learned. I hear this a lot of times with people that we see as celebrities, so like a musician, that we love their music, and then all of a sudden they don't align with us politically. We just finished a presidential election year, and they're like, well, I'm never going to listen to that person's music again. You can respect the talent and the artist and maybe disagree with the person's viewpoints on things in life. You don't have to throw out the baby with the bathwater type thing, right? So absorb what is useful, discard what's not, and add what is uniquely your own, all right? The next one, the key to immortality is first living a life worth remembering. The key to immortality is first living a life worth remembering. We get so caught up about, making sure somebody remembers who we were type thing, legacy. Man, your legacy is why you're living right now. So my challenge to everybody right now is like, are you living a life where someone would want to read your book about your life? Would someone 30 years after you've passed, 40 years after you've passed, be talking about you? Have you lived that kind of life? And so like, Bruce Lee was 32 years old when he died. I'm 40, I'll be 44 this year. Like he was a young man still. Think about that. He was a young man still. He had massive amount of opportunity in front of him. And so the key to immortality is living a life worth remembering. That's why your legacy is right now, current time. All right. Got four more of these. I'm gonna go a little faster here. Knowing is not enough, we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do. I tell people, wrongfully apparently now that I've corrected myself on this, is I would say Bruce Lee says there's do or don't, there's no try. Well, apparently that's from Star Wars and Yoda, not Bruce Lee. But this is kind of where that came from, is knowing is not enough, we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do. I think it kind of speaks for itself. It's like so many times I talk to Christ school owners or business owners or people in general, students even, and the path to hell is paved with good intentions. Like we have these great intentions. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get my black belt. I'm going to get more students. I'm going to scale my business. I'm going to be a better father. I'm going to be a better friend. And then we don't do it. All right. So like knowing is not enough. You got to take the action, right? And that's what I say is like commit first, figure the rest out later. That's from another mentor of mine. It's just another way of saying it. So, hopefully a lot of you guys can take more action instead of talk about it. Next one, mistakes are always forgivable if one has the courage to admit them. I will say in my personal life, when I have had the humility to just own it, it's crazy how much power it gives you when you think it's going to do the opposite, because it gives you the power to take action. So mistakes are always forgivable if one has the courage to admit them. Of course, it is hard to sit in front of someone and say, hey, I messed up. That's on me. Particularly when you've tripled down a lot of times on the fact that you didn't, all right? So humility is just essential for growth. I think we all know that. Logically, taking action towards that a little tougher, right? Two more. If you spend too much time thinking about a thing, you'll never get it done. I tell my clients, my students, my friends, everybody I can talk to, Things that get scheduled get done. So when you talk about, hey, one day I'm going to run this marathon, one day I'm going to earn my black belt. I'm like, hey, one day's not on the calendar somewhere. When? I'm going to do that this year. Okay, what date? And when you put it in your calendar and then set reminders to it, like it obligates you to success. So if you spend too much time thinking about it, you'll never actually get it done. So if you're like, man, I'm going to go to that conference, I'm going to go to that event. Yeah, okay, pick up your phone right now and book it, right? Like now you're taking action. Now you're going to be a leader. And then last one, the martial arts are ultimately self-knowledge. I love this one because I tell people all the time, martial arts used to be for self-defense. Now it's for self-enlightenment. And it has been that way for a long time. Bruce Lee was ahead of his game. He was understanding that martial arts are ultimately about self-knowledge, who you are as a man or woman or child, and like overcoming hard things, which is why I believe martial arts creates the most resilient people, because it gives you something you can do lifelong. All right. Chuck Norris is going to be 85 years old this year. All right. Greatest American icon when it comes to martial arts. Think about that. He still does martial arts. You could be 6 years old, 26 years old, 66 years old, and still do martial arts. So it's about who you are. And by the way, when you learn a technique at 6 and you do that technique at 26 and then at 66, there's different things. Like you don't get a skill and keep the skill. You got to keep, the iron sharp type thing. And what you have to overcome learning that as a 6-year-old compared to a 26-year-old, compared to a 66 years old, are different things that you'll learn about yourself. So I believe that martial arts creates this resilience in us, and it gives us the ability to learn who we are as a person. Bruce Lee, Seer of the Dragon, right? What greater person to learn from. And by the way, one of those 8 resonate with you. I'm curious which one resonates with you. Drop in the comments below, and I hope to see you guys have the amazing year. Let's rise together.